Hello, good afternoon everyone. So, well, I have got a welcome message from the same old association, Ashok Fence Association. Thank you so much. So, how are you doing all? I hope everything going great. Okay, so almost done with the syllabus, huh? Ready to go in front of the cannon on 24th of June or 26th? Okay, 5th of June. That is some state public service commission which I remember. Okay, so 5th of June you are going to face the cannon. Okay, how many of you are here for meeting me for the first time? Okay. Those who have met me earlier, please tell them who am I. Huh? Okay? My name is Amjad. I am a civil servant of 2019 batch, working in some state cadre. Okay. So I have been called here this time to interact with you people on current affairs. Okay. So being a civil servant and teaching students of civil services, these are the two most beautiful things which have happened to my life and which can happen to anybody's life. Okay, and the second one is more beautiful, that is the teaching of the civil servants, because after cracking civil services I realized the first one is has lesser beauties and the second one is more beautiful. Okay, so precisely I will be discussing, what I will be discussing here is, I will be discussing the budget, I'll be discussing the economic survey, and I'll be discussing some recent economic issues which have been in news, and there may be some questions from that. Okay, so I'll be going for 8 hours with you. Okay, and in these 8 hours I can assure you at least more than 6 questions in prelims and 2 questions at least in mains, those which are on current affairs based. Static I have already basically told you, maximum questions will be from the class only. Clear that? Okay, so those who are all together new people here, you won't face any problem because it is all together current affairs. Okay, so I'll be discussing current affairs, what are things in news, and how we have to take up those things in your examination, and how we have to basically approach to the paper based on the current affairs scenario. And most of the current affairs questions are either from budget or from economic survey. So majority part I'll spend on these 2 things. Okay, then there are some remaining smaller topics which I'll definitely discuss with you people. Clear that? Okay, so first of all, I'll start with budget 2023. Why budget 2023? Because 2022-2023. Okay, why I'll start from this area? Because every year you'll find 2 to 3 questions in prelims and 1-2 question in mains from budget every year. Okay, this is the trend since last 10 to 12 odd years since I know UPSC. UPSC asks questions from here. Clear that? Okay. So first of all, basics about budgets. 5 to 10 minutes I'll spend on basics. Then I'll come to the budget this year. What is basically there in the budget 2022 and 2023. Okay. So are we ready to start? Okay, I am not in a habit of wasting much time in discussing some things which are not related to subject. Okay, I'll stick to subject now. Okay, so whatever I'll speak, please take down. Okay, continuously take down, because I may not spend much time in dictation like in the other classes, in the basic classes, comprehensive course classes. I'll not spend much time in dictation, though I'll dictate some important things, but otherwise you have to take it down simultaneously. Clear? So which article of the Constitution mandates for budget? Yeah, Article 112. Oh, all of you are appearing this year in the prelims exam? Okay. So is there a term mentioned budget in the Constitution of India? No. Yeah, it is annual financial statement. Okay. Now, what does Article 112 says? Does it defines annual financial statement? See, there was a statement, UPSC is very clever in asking questions. Okay, there was a statement that Article 112 defines the annual financial statement. Yes or no? Most of the people say yes, but actually it is no. Okay, why? Because Article 112 says that it is the duty of the President to lay down before the Parliament the annual financial statement. That is the language of the article. So it has not defined annual financial statement. We have to define it by ourselves. It is, well, you know, it is the job of the economy faculties and economic students to learn the definition of annual financial statement. So what is annual financial statement? It is simply a statement of expenditures on one side and receipts on the other side. Okay? Expenditures and receipts. Most of the students confuse the term revenues with receipts. So can any one of you tell me what is the difference between revenue and receipt?
Revenue is domestic and Receipts.
Revenue is
Domestic and
domestic. Okay.
through taxes.
Revenue means income or outgoing?
Income.
Revenue means income. Okay. This is wrong. Okay, my students, revenue means income only or revenue means expenditure also? Expenditure is of two types. Revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Receipts are of two types. Revenue receipts and capital receipts. You get this concept first of all? Revenue never means that you are generating income. Revenue means you might be making expenditure also. You might be making income also. When income, it is revenue receipt. When expenditure, it is revenue expenditure. You get my point? Okay. Now, what is the difference between revenue expenditure and capital expenditure? I'll illustrate it very simple way. Okay? I'm known for my illustrations. See, I spend 10 rupees and consume a lemonade. 1 glass of lemon water. Clear that? 10 rupees I spent. Now I am not going to generate anything out of it. Clear that? No further income will be generated. Clear that? So this is revenue expenditure. I made an expenditure from which I am not going to generate anything. Only it will give me energy, nothing more. But suppose I spent 10 rupee and I bought a marker. By this marker, I will be teaching civil services aspirants across the country and I will be getting some salary to teach them. Okay. This means I have generated an asset. Marker is a asset. Clear that? So anything from which we generate assets and we basically generate further income from that expenditure, that is called capital expenditure. In the same way, revenue receipts. Revenue receipts means I drink 1 lemon water, spend 10 rupees. Okay. Then I got a lot of energy. I went into a wrestling match. I won the wrestling match and I earned 20 rupees. Is this from any asset? No. It is for my effort. Okay. This 20 rupees is revenue receipt. I received the money without any asset or liability change. No asset has been. Suppose I went to a bank and got 20 rupees as loan. Now, is it my receipt? Income to hai? This is income. I have received money from bank, but it has created a liability on me. I have to pay it at some point of time. So anything which creates a liability or any income which you receive from asset, it is called capital receipt. Otherwise, which does not create any asset or liability, that is called revenue receipt. These 20 rupees I have earned as a reward. Suppose I am serving, I am getting salary. Salary for what? For my services. Clear? Salary is my revenue receipt, not capital receipt, because I am not spending any asset to generate salaries. Clear? But when I am using marker and board, these are two of my assets. When I am using them and I am teaching some people, and if I am generating revenue out of that, this is revenue which I am generating out of my assets. Clear that? This is called capital receipts. Clear that? This much difference is clear? This much introduction only I can give you in the current affairs class. Okay. So it is a statement of expenditures and now annual financial statement. Till this date, what we know? Till this date, what we know? With annual financial statement, what we present? We present estimated receipts as well as expenditures for current financial year or ensuing financial year. For the ensuing financial year. Ensuing means the forthcoming financial year. Ensuing financial year. Clear? But is this the complete budget? No. We present 3 more documents with budget. Even this was a question in UPSC. Okay. What are those 3? No, economic survey used to be presented with the budget. Now it is presented a few days before budget. That is all in the financial statement, how we have to, where we have to spend, where we have to raise the revenues from. Statement of revenues and statement of receipts and statement of expenditure, that is the part of, yeah, we present revised estimates. Revised estimates of current year. Current year. You write down, I will give you illustration also. Revised estimates of current year. And then anything else? Actual estimate, not actual estimates. When you write the word actual, it is no more estimate, it is actual figure. Okay, so you can write actuals of previous year. This completes your annual financial statement. This completes your annual financial statement. What do you present? See, we present estimates of expenditure and revenue of 2022-23. Clear? We present revised estimates for the year 2021-22. Okay, and we present actuals of 2020-21. So these 3 years documents complete the budget. You get the point?
Present budget estimates of 2021-22 also.
Estimates, yeah, budget estimates of 2022-22.
Previous year also it has one column budget.
But that is obviously when you are presenting the revised one, the annual financial statement looks like this. Before the revised one, you have to keep the budget estimates. Otherwise, how will you judge what is the revision? Suppose, now I'll tell you first of all what is difference between budget estimate, revised estimate, actuals and estimate. See, basically today, suppose I am Ministry of Forest Ecology and Environment. Okay, I am saying to Finance Ministry that I require 100 crores, 1000 crores for the year 2020-2023. This is what I demand first of all. This is called as the budget estimate. Okay, when the funds are allotted to me, after 6 months, we will go again for estimation that how much we have spent it and how much we need more. First 6 months we have spent only 200 crores. Is it possible for next 6 months we spending 800 crores? Now we will revise our estimate that we don't need actually 1000 crore. This was an overestimation. We are revising our budgetary estimate. We need only 600 crores. This will be called as revised estimates. Okay. So unless you have budgetary estimates, you cannot put revised estimates. So that is understood. Clear that? Okay. And actually then later on, after 2-3 years, when you audited the whole statement, you found that only 450 crores were spent and 150 crore was lapsed back to the government's treasury. So this is called actuals. But actual data comes only after the audit. That's why actual is presented 2020-21 ka actuals are presented in 2022-2023 budget. Why? Because only the data get available only 1 year after the audit. Any doubt in this? Anybody facing any problem in understanding this? You got the concept of revised estimates, actuals, budgetary estimates. Budgetary estimates, the first estimates which we give when Finance Ministry asks for estimation. Revised estimates, after spending some money, we revise maybe, suppose instead of 200 crores, we would have spent 800 crores in first 6 months. Then we would have required more. Then we had asked Finance Ministry in revised estimates, please give us, instead of remaining 200 crores, please give us 500 more crores. So in total we require 1300 crores. Again, in revised estimates it can be increase or it can be decrease. Clear that? So basically these are the 3 documents which complete the whole financial statement. Clear that? So which is the nodal agency for presentation or formulation of this budget? Ministry of Finance. Okay, but you need to be very much precise. It is Department of Economic Affairs in the Ministry of Finance. Okay, Department of Economic Affairs is the nodal agency, or nodal body under Ministry of Finance. Department of Economic Affairs under Ministry of Finance. Okay, is the nodal body for presentation of budget. Clear that? For presentation of budget. Okay. Now there is a term used in this year budget. That term is called Amrit Kal. What do you mean by Amrit Kal? Which Kal is this? Kal means a period. Okay. Now what is this Amrit Kal? See, recently you might have heard that we were celebrating 75 years of independence under the Azadi Ka Amrut Maha Utsav. These terms you should remember. So you are civil services aspirants, you get into discussions along with so many people. Okay. Now from India at 75 to India at 100. There is a gap of how many years? 25 years. This is called Amrit Kal. This is called Amrit Kal. This is a term used in this year's budget, that our future strategy will be what we have to attain in these 25 years. And this year being the first year of that Amrit Kal. Clear that? So this is how we have used the term Amrit Kal. Clear that? Okay. So now is this year a normal year? Historic budget speech. Okay. Quarter to 4 hours, 3 hours 45 minutes. Okay, electronic budget we have been doing since last 2 years. These are smaller things which I feel like I should not be telling you. But was this a budget of normal times? Was this a budget of normal times? Yes or no? This was not a budget of normal times. Past two budgets, particularly 2021, 2022, this budget and this budget. Budgets of unprecedented time. When the global economy has faced recession, we have also faced negative economic growth. Clear that? And in that negative economic growth, what should be your priority? Priority in this budget, I just told you, what is the purpose of this budget? The purpose of this budget is to plan for 1 year, where we are going to spend and from where we are going to earn, how we are going to run the country. Clear that? And also there are some provisions, though inflation control is primarily prerogative of Reserve Bank of India. Monetary Policy Committees for that matter. Clear that? But in budget also we try to balance economic growth with inflation control. Clear that? Okay. So see, broadly speaking, the economic policy of a country has two aspects. Okay. Economic policy of a country has two aspects. One is called fiscal policy and one is called monetary policy. Monetary policy is basically responsible for monetary control of money supply and inflation control. Clear that? And fiscal policy is basically for allocation of resources, augmentation of resources and generation of resources. Clear that? Very precise you should be while answering things. You should say a lot of things in one or two statements. Okay. Primary focus of fiscal policy: generation of resources, augmentation of resources and distribution of resources. Clear that? So only through fiscal policy, and this is fiscal policy which we call the budgetary policy. Okay. So in these unprecedented times, what actually were the scenarios, I'll tell you shortly, but do you want me to tell the whole process, how budget is prepared, how it is presented, what is the process in between involved? How many of people know that? How many people know that? Just raise your hands. See, it is very simple. You can go from any book. Clear that? Basic Finance Ministry prepares estimation from all the ministries, then presentation of the budget, then after that general discussion, after general discussion voting on demand for grants. During voting on demand for grants, there was one thing called vote on account. Now we have done away with vote on account, reason being because we have advanced the date of budget. Clear that? Okay, after that there are these cut motions also, policy cut motion, token cut motion, economy cut motion. Finally bifurcation of the budget into two wings, that is finance bill and appropriation bill. Finance bill legalizes your expenditure side and appropriation bill legalizes your income side. Clear? Briefly and very quickly. I don't want to waste valuable time of these current affairs discussion. Reason being, it is also valuable for you people also. Huh? Okay. So unprecedented times. Unprecedented times means not normal times. It means lot of issues were grappling the Indian economy simultaneously. Clear? Now what were those issues and how we decided to come out of those issues, I will tell you gradually. But I'll tell you, I'll also integrate a lot of data from economic survey here in this budget only. Clear that? Okay. First of all, just write down 4 pillars on which we have rested this year's budget. Okay. We have a 4-pronged approach. Okay. 4-pillared approach. In this year's budget, we have a 4-pillared approach through which we will basically plan for the Amrit Kal. Clear that? We have to do a starting from here only. Clear? So what is the 4-pronged approach? I'll discuss everything. Okay. PM Gati Shakti. PM Gati Shakti. For sure there is a question in mains from PM Gati Shakti. For sure there is a question. I'm not saying there may be a question. I'm telling you there is a question. Clear that? I don't have any links with UPSC. Disclaimer. Okay, PM Gati Shakti. Okay, number 1. Number 2, inclusive development. Inclusive development. Second pillar is inclusive development. Okay, inclusive. I'll discuss all of them thoroughly. Inclusive development. Then there is productive enhancement and investment. Okay. Productive enhancement, productivity enhancement rather you should write. Productivity enhancement and investment. Investment. Okay, particularly in which areas? Particularly in sunrise opportunities, energy transition, write down, sunrise opportunities, climate change, sunrise opportunities, climate change, and then there is also energy transition. Energy transition means transition from non-eco-friendly to eco-friendly. Energy transition. In energy transition, I expect a question in the battery swapping policy. Okay, I'll tell you thoroughly. Battery swapping policy recently introduced. I'll tell you. Clear? And the last, fourth one is financing of investment. Financing of investment. Or you can say investment financing. Investment financing. Investment financing. First of all, what does this word financing means? Financing means providing finance or generating revenues, making the money available for a particular project. Okay, that is called financing. Okay, investment projects are to be financed through what? Through capex. This was the key term I heard so many times during the speech of the Union Finance Minister. Capex. What is this capex? You can write capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. Through capital expenditure. Okay. What is this capital expenditure? Yeah. Capital expenditure means expenditure which is to create assets. Which is to create assets. Capital expenditure which is to create assets. In assets particularly we have infrastructure. We have infrastructure. And PM Gati Shakti being one of the major initiatives in the infrastructure sector. Gati means speed, Shakti means the force or energy. Clear that? So we have to make fast, multimodal transit system, transport sector, everything we have to improve. Clear that? One new mode of transport introduced in recent budget. What is that? Ropeways. Days are not far away when you might be seeing a ropeway right here from Ashok Nagar to somewhere near that Charminar. Clear that? So that is not particularly for these states which are low-lying states. They are for the hilly terrain and particularly northeastern and some Himalayan states. Clear that? So new mode of transport under the under the PM Gati Shakti. I'll discuss everything in detail. Clear? So these are the 4 pillars for which we have, on which we have basically rested our this year's budget, complete budget. And complete budget talks about this. Okay. Now discussing budget sector wise is one way. Discussing budget theme wise is another way. Discussing budget as per the requirement of the exam is the third and the last way, which most of the people forget to take. Clear that? But I'll discuss it mostly relevant topics to the UPSC from different themes. Okay, so if I take the first theme, I'll take the first theme, which is let us start from this only, Gati Shakti only. We can start with the Gati Shakti, or you can write virtuous economic cycle, blueprint for Amrit Kal. Okay, virtuous economic heading. Give a heading: virtuous economic cycle, a blueprint for Amrit Kal. Blueprint for Amrit Kal. Okay, so I am assuming that most of you know where the government funds are kept. Okay, most of you know about this Consolidated Fund of India. Public Accounts of India, and then Contingency Fund of India. Clear that? Okay. So what is the corpus of Contingency Fund of India? How much? Corpus of the Contingency Fund of India earlier was 500 crores. There is an updation now. Those who attended classes earlier, please update it. It has been revised and it has been kept at 30,000 crores. Now increased. Okay. So one change was there. So that's why I need to go there. Okay. Otherwise, rest you know articles dealing with Article 266, 266, 1, 2 and 267. I won't go into that basics. Okay. But I'll tell you basically what is basically the master plan of our future. Okay, but before going for the Gati Shakti master plan, I must tell you the trends, because in prelims you won't get questions what is GDP growth rate of India. Okay, you'll get a statement. Okay, statement means India has never witnessed negative economic growth since independence. Yes or no? This year only, the previous year we witnessed negative economic growth. So I need to give you some data. I'll start basically, I'll take you 7 years back. 2015-16 onwards I'll give you the data. Because if people say that COVID was responsible for India economic slowdown, most of the people will be wrong here. Reason being, before 2015-16 onwards we started witnessing a declining trend. And when COVID entered into the scenario, we were already at 4.1 growth rate. Clear that? Okay, I'll also tell you the reasons. What were the reasons for pre-pandemic economic slowdown? Because everybody will prepare economic slowdown due to pandemic. UPSC will ask reasons for pre-pandemic economic slowdown in India. Clear that? So basically, I'll make a graph. You please make it with me. Okay, so on one side you plot GDP. Okay, and on another side I'll plot year-wise data. Okay, so I'll plot few selected years. I'll plot 2015-16. Okay, then I'll plot 2019-20. Then I'll also plot for 2021 and 2022. And 2022-23. This is estimates. This is estimated. Clear that? 2021, 2022 and 2022-2023. This is estimated. Clear? Even the 2021 wala is not actual, but this is projected. Clear that? Okay. So, first of all, what was the growth rate during 2015-16? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We have never gone to 10% growth rate, but what was the growth rate in 2015-16? 17 onwards we started witnessing slowdown. Okay, so it was somewhere around 7 to 8. Okay, around this we were here. Clear that? We were here. Clear? This graph will be helpful in understanding statement based questions. Clear that? Okay. Now the size of our GDP was around 150 lakh crores. 150 lakh crores. Not so important. Datas are not important. Okay. Then we started witnessing a decline in economic growth. We started witnessing a decline in economic growth, and by 2019-2020 we came up to this point. And this was around 4.1%. 4.1%. This was around 8%. Around 8%. Now around 4.1%. Clear? Then again, we witnessed further slowdown. We witnessed a further slowdown during this period, and we came up to negative growth rate, minus around 7, minus 7 point, you can write minus 7.2%, minus 7.2%. Okay, minus 7.2%. Don't write the percentage here, it may confuse you, because for negative you have to go below this line. Here, because this is the size of GDP, clear? So after that we recovered again, and in we recovered now, and we stood at around 9.3 percentage. According to one projection it is 9.3 and according to another projection it is 9.2. But I told you data are not important, somewhere around 9.2 you can write. Okay, let us follow economic survey. Clear that? First of all, what you witnessed here. This was a question in your mains this year. Okay, V-shape recovery and K-shape recovery. Contrast was a question. I'll explain both of them. Okay, I'll even explain W-shaped because third wave changed our recovery curve to W-shape. Clear that? So this is V-shaped recovery. But can you tell me, within 1 year, is it possible that from 7.2 minus 7.2 we went to 9.2? What is it? Yeah. This is basically something called base effect. This is something called base effect. Means we never grow at this pace. Like it shows almost 16% growth. From minus 7 to 9, almost 16% growth rate. Clear that? This never happens in any economy. If at all it happens, India will be developed by 2020, mid 2022. Clear that? Mid 2022, just 2, 3, 4, 5 months later. Reason being, this never happens. There is a thing called base effect. Okay, so there might be a question on base effect, surrounding base effect. Any statement can come in your exam. Okay, what are the probable reason of the high visible growth rate in India? Okay, one can be in option base effect. Clear that? Now what is base effect? You told me, na, it is base effect. What is it?
Compared to the previous curve, during the unprecedented years, we have low base.
See, I'll tell you how. I'll give you an illustration here. See, when we were growing at 4.1%, the size of our GDP was 147 lakh crores. The size of our GDP was how much? 147. Okay, then everything stopped, production stopped, lockdown was imposed. There were supply side as well as demand side disruptions and economic growth slowed down and it went into negative. But the size of GDP also shrinked and it shrinked to what? 135 lakh crores. 135 lakh crores. After the lockdown opened, after the production again started, demand and supply side, some reforms taken in previous budget, we recovered back and we witnessed a growth of 9.2%, but the size of GDP is 146 lakh crores. At 147, we were having growth rate of 4.1%. At 146 lakh crores, we are having growth rate of 9%. So this growth rate is compared to this one. You get this point? You get this point? Okay, when here it was, the base rate was, from here, we were 142 already. Now 142 to 147 or 140 around we were 140 lakh crores. Okay, from 140 to 147, obviously the growth rate is only 4.1%. From 135 to 146, 11 lakh crores we witnessed a growth. We have not reached the pre-pandemic levels. Okay, but due to this low base, the visible size is very large. Okay, now illustration. My height, 6 feet. Is it good or not good? Is it good or not good? Let me stand by a person from those, you have read that Gulliver among Lilliput, that story. Okay, let someone of 3 feet stand by my side. You will say, sir is very tall. Okay, but let me stand by Alam Chana, 8 feet 3 inch. Okay, you'll say, sir is so short in height. Okay, otherwise, this is a line. Okay, is it a long line or a short line? Long line or short line? Long or very long? Very long. Now long. Short. Very short. So in comparison to the previous data, this appears to be very fast growth rate. But actual size of GDP is not growing. It is not even at the pre-pandemic level. Clear that? Here onwards, we have projected for 2022-2023, we have projected that Indian economy may grow around 8 to 8.5%. This is what economic survey says. This is what our budget also says. This is World Bank's what World Bank says, this is what actually IMF says. We are predicting that if everything goes fine, Indian economy may grow by 8 to 8.5%. So does it means that we will grow lesser than 2021, 2022? No. This time we have a higher base. Base is higher, so if we grow only by 8 to 8.5%, that will be a significant increase in GDP, and we will go past the pre-pandemic levels. You get this point? So this growth rate which was visible was due to what? Due to the base effect. Due to base effect. Okay. So basically, what were the reasons during the pre-pandemic lockdown? Precise, very much brisk, and very much to the point. Tell me, what were the main reasons? Reduction in consumption. Why that happened? Why that happened?
GST reduction and demonetization and GST reduction.
Basically, first of all, you can say we never write impacts, you write short term, because they were mega reforms. Okay, they had short term impact due to which consumption reduced. Okay, short term impact of GST and demonetization, but they have warded off by 2019. So this thing doesn't appear more relevant to me. Why? Because impacts of GST were seen in 2017, were seen in 2018 first half. But post first half of 2018, the impact of GST and demonetization warded off, rather they started showing positive signs. Okay, growth in digital payments, okay, growth in cashless economy, even GST collection, huge revenue collection by central and state governments. Clear that? So this faded away, but fourth reason you can quote it. Okay, fourth reason you can quote it. Okay, but there were some other reasons also. Can you tell me why? What were the reasons?
Shrinkage in manufacturing growth.
Shrinkage in
Industrial.
Industrial growth. Why industrial growth shrink?
Core industries being performed.
Basically, that was due to lack of investment. Investment declined. Okay, when investment declined, obviously there is a shrinkage. You should write the primary reason. Okay, your forehead is warm. Okay, you should not tell doctor my forehead is warm, just give me something to cool it down. You should tell him I have underlying fever. Okay, please give me a tablet for fever. This will cool down automatically. Okay, so you are touching the forehead. Okay, you are not seeing the underlying pathogenic cause. Okay, that cause is basically this decline in investment. Okay, one problem. Another problem. Concrete question answers to be written. The jobless growth is the impact. That is not a reason. Reason is increase in non-performing assets. Highest non-performing assets we witnessed during this point. During 2017, 18 and 19. Okay, non-performing assets. More than 10-12% of the assets were non-performing assets. Clear? What do you mean by non-performing assets?
Substandard assets, more than 90 days.
Substandard asset is different, non-performing asset is different.
More than 90 days.
Yeah, assets which have shown default of interest payment as well as the principal amount payment for more than 90 days. Of less than 90 days, what are they called?
Substandard assets.
Special mention account, which one? 2, 3, 1? 0 to 30 days, SMA 1, 30 to 60, SMA 2, 60 to 90, SMA 3. Okay, you have read economics very well. Okay, this appears to me at the very beginning. Okay, I appreciate your answers. ठीक है? हाँ, ऐसा नहीं है बाकी भी intelligent है, लेकिन you're answering तो that motivates me more. Okay, हाँ. So special mention accounts, once a loan starts showing default. If default is up to 30 days, SMA 0. Okay, then SMA 1, SMA 2, and then NPA. Okay, then it goes into, all these are substandard assets. Okay, then it goes into doubtful asset, then it goes into loss asset. Okay, clear? So this is basically, NPAs were very, very high. Now if NPAs are very, very high, banks will be in a position to lend or will not be in a position to lend. Banks will fear lending. Why? Because those whom they have lended, they fled to England. Clear that? The bank is not going to lend any more. And if it is, why is there this non-performing asset problem? Why NPAs increased? There was another underlying reason that is called as twin balance sheet problem. Twin balance sheet problem. Twin balance sheet problem. Now who will tell me what is twin balance? Just raise your hands. Who will tell me what is twin balance sheet problem? No, that is called twin deficit. That's called twin deficit. Twin balance sheet problem, you people should at least tell me. You tell me, what is your name? Rahul. What is your name? Rahul, na? Okay, tell me, Rahul. You don't know twin balance sheet problem. What do you mean by balance sheet? What do you mean by balance sheet? Huh? Balance sheet is simply a sheet which shows assets and liabilities of individuals, financial institutions, or the corporations, companies, any economic entity. Okay? I have assets, few assets I have, land, rent a house on rent, and then some more things from where I get revenue on this side. I have some liabilities, I have taken a loan, I pay EMI, loan is liability. For me, for bank it is asset. Okay, so bank, what is asset for the bank? Like as bank has given some loans, okay, bank has made some advances to some state or something like that. Okay, and what is liabilities for the bank? Demand deposits. Okay, then even the time deposits are also basically long-term liabilities. Clear that? Now, if assets are greater than liabilities, it is called as basically a positive balance sheet. Means assets are greater, liabilities are lesser, no need to worry. Positive balance sheet. Okay. Liabilities have increased, assets are lesser. Means I may turn out to be a bankrupt anywhere near soon. Okay. This is called basically negative balance sheet. Now, if this happens to banks, then bank के assets जो हैं वो क्या हो चुके होंगे? These bank assets might have turned into non-performing assets. Now they are showing assets, but actually are they assets? Punjab National Bank showing 9,000 crores in asset given to Nirav Modi. Okay, I told you PNB problem. Was it actually loan given by PNB? What was then it? It was assurance given by PNB to some international bank. Please give it to Nirav Modi. Okay, so basically 9,000 crore asset. Bank is showing 9,000 crore asset. But actually, is it an asset? It is a loss asset. Bank has to manage this from somewhere. Now, is this balance sheet showing a pure picture now? This balance sheet has a problem. Problem of, first of all, showing wrong picture. Then, bank officials, government of India, people might be happy about it, but actually internally it is basically suffering. Clear? Now, why it suffered? Because this fellow also suffered. The corporate who has taken the loan, he also suffered. He took 9,000 crores loan and invested it in generation of a asset. That asset didn't perform. His company went bankrupt. He started incurring losses over a long period of time. He lost the capacity to repay the debt to the bank. It is due to the default of this balance sheet of this corporate, bank's balance sheet got distorted. This is called a twin balance sheet problem. Okay, when balance sheet of corporates as well as banks show signs of stress simultaneously. When the balance sheet, you are noting down or listening only? Noting down also, note it down. I am telling you, I may appear to be very simple in looks, but what I speak is highly sensible things. Okay. So, twin balance sheet problem mean basically the corporates as well as the banks, both were showing signs of stress in their balance sheets. Clear? Their assets were turning out to be non-performing assets. Now, why we call it twin balance sheet problem? Because due to the balance sheet of the corporate, the balance sheet of bank started suffering. It started incurring more NPAs. When it started incurring more NPAs, it stopped giving loans to the people under restrictions of RBI also. Okay, provisioning is there. Then there is also this, prompt corrective action under which restrictions are put on banks. Okay, then investment declined. When investment declined, rest everything goes for a toss. Okay. Okay. When investment declined, investment is directly proportional to growth. You know, capital formation. Capital formation is another name of investment. Okay. When capital formation declines, naturally what happens? Basically, those who have attended the classes earlier, whenever I write a statement, they feel like कुछ तो सुना है इसके बारे में, precise कुछ पता है नहीं, but we have heard something about this, है ना? हाँ, ठीक है. Okay, so these were the reasons of pre-pandemic slowdown in Indian economy. Okay. Now, finance minister said, okay, fine, we were going very slow. Okay, but we were not witnessing negative growth. We witnessed it only after the pandemic. There is a statement. The statement was made by finance minister in its budget speech that more than 40 years, the last time we witnessed negative growth rate was 1979-80. 1979-80 was the last time when we witnessed negative growth. More than 41 years have taken place after we have witnessed negative economic growth. We will pump up. Where can we improve? Where can we improve to come out of this economic slowdown? Can we change the balance sheet of banks overnight? No. Can we change this balance sheet of corporates and banks together overnight basis? No. These impacts have already gone. Okay. Then what are we left with? Two budgets. Previous budget, this budget. Main focus on investment. Clear? Because this is the root cause. Okay. Dolo 650. You take it for fever, huh? This is fever, huh? This is heating of head and body, okay, rising of body temperature. Clear? But the cause is this one. We decided to increase investment. Okay, so primarily when we have to start investment, we will invest in those projects which have potential to generate revenues, employment, as well as the production increase. Okay, that will lead to economic growth. Clear that? But when government will go for mass investment into economy, pump huge money into economy, clear that? That will increase what? That will increase money supply. When increase in money supply will take place, that will give rise to inflation. Why? What is the definition of inflation? Too much of money chasing too few goods. Production is already low, goods are very few. When you have invested a lot, you have given a lot of money to people, you have created jobs also, you have increased the demands. On the other side, supply is low. Okay, so that will lead to inflation. That will lead to what? Inflation. Clear that? So that's why currently we are basically suffering with this syndrome. Na? Inflation is there in the economy. Okay, though it is in tolerable limits, the CPI based, WPI based very high, 14%. Okay, a few days back it was around 14%. Clear that? So that is, but is it a worryable situation or not? I'll discuss a bit later. Clear that? So we basically decided what now? We decided to go for huge investment. The huge investment showed very positive signs. That's why we witnessed a V-shaped recovery. That's why we witnessed what? V-shaped recovery. But frequent appearance of variants of COVID, frequent appearance of newer variants mentioned in the budget itself, Omicron mentioned in the budget itself, clear? That has led to something else. That has led to again partial economic slowdown. Partial, because though there was a third wave, but its economic impacts were more, health impacts were less. No health impacts. People have stopped fearing COVID anymore. They don't fear anymore. Okay, they don't wear masks anymore. Okay, but economic impacts were a bit, but not that much. Okay, so again we went down. Okay, now we are not in a position to continue with V-shaped recovery because we have already come down. Now we will go for W-shaped recovery. This shape, you see, this is called W-shaped recovery. Why W-shaped recovery? W-shaped recovery is a basically economic cycle of economic recovery cycle in which you make economy resilient. That if there is an economic slowdown for temporary time, it must be able to recover quickly. That's why we have focused on capital expenditure this year in order to make our recovery W-shaped recovery. Because in the budget itself they have said that V-shaped recovery proved very short term, and it is basically becoming very painful for the lower economic stratums as it is becoming very inflationary. Rather, we should go for partial slowdown, then again recover back. Okay, due to inflation control, definitely economic growth will come down, but then we will recover back. So it has suggested that long-term measure should be the W-shape recovery. Economic slowdown, then recovery, then after inflation a bit of slowdown, and then again recovery. And you never know, fourth wave is on the cards. A lot of cases are basically being now detected again. Okay, so you don't know when the COVID thing will leave us. Okay, so you must make the recovery very much sustainable. These are things which you must discuss in your answer in mains examination. Clear that? But then economists said this V-shape recovery is just a gimmick of words. Actually, we didn't grow on V-shape. We show a K-shape recovery. We showed a K-shape recovery. What does this mean? K-shape recovery?
Rich grow richer, poor grow poorer.
Yeah. In K-shape recovery, some sectors have grown up, but some sectors have witnessed a decline. Okay, which sectors do you expect? Those sectors which are long distance, not the contact based services. Clear? And like IT, BPO sector, they have witnessed the growth. IT sector, BPO sector, formal sector, service sector, these have witnessed a growth. These have witnessed a growth. Okay. Sorry. This has led to increase in the wealth of poorer class or richer class. IT, BPO, privileges of poorer class or richer class. So this has increased the income of the richer. Rich has become more richer. Clear? On the other hand, where is the bearing of poor people? Informal sector. Agriculture sector. Agriculture is an exception. We never witnessed negative growth in agriculture. So agriculture can be kept aside. Agriculture sector as such engages more people, but it is not very significant in Indian economy as it was at the independence time. Only 18 point something this year's economic survey in gross value addition. Okay, earlier 16%. Okay, so basically not so significant in GDP terms, but still for more than 40% people engaged in agriculture, employment. Okay, but for that matter, hotel, travel, tourism, informal sector, formal economy here, informal, unorganized sector. Majority of the people, unemployment data, if you will see, 81% people work in unorganized informal sector. Clear that? So informal sector suffered, hotel, travel, tourism, these sectors suffered. Okay, poorer become more poorer. So they said that this V-shaped recovery is not a sustainable and a long-term model of economic growth, because it is V-shape in theory, in practice it appears to be K-shape. We should go for a sustainable model, that is W-shaped recovery. That is the W-shaped recovery, which can be basically a sustainable sector of economy. Okay, now what should be the priority? What should be the priority before the finance minister? What were the priorities before the finance minister in order to cope up with these issues? Okay, these in order to cope up with these issues, there were basically you must understand, for that matter, drivers of the economy. What are those things which drive our economy, where government should focus? Okay, drivers of economy. Write down very quickly, because sometimes statement based question also. Drivers of economy. Okay. Industry, I am not going by sector wise, I am going where we should spend more, because investment we have to do. Okay, so main drivers of the economy are, number one, private consumption expenditure. Private consumption expenditure. Private consumption expenditure. Okay, then second one is GDCF, gross domestic capital formation. In other words, investment. Okay, gross domestic capital formation. In other words, investment. Okay, then there is government's consumption expenditure. Government consumption expenditure. Okay, and then there is exports. Exports. More exports. If there are more exports, It means economy is first of all self-resilient, then it is also exporting, it is preventing import of goods, it is improving our balance of payment situation, that is improving our current account deficit. Okay, so we may basically also be saved from current account deficit, twin deficit problems. Clear that? Okay, so where can we, and out of these four, which are the main drivers? These two are the main drivers. So government has to focus on these two. Clear that? Okay, private consumption, expenditure. Clear? Why? These two are basically 85% of GDP. 85% of the GDP is here only. Okay, so you have to increase this one. You have to increase this one, then only. But then is this in the hands of government? Government has to enable people, create more jobs, enhance the per capita income. Then people will spend more money. Okay, so private consumption expenditure will increase, but mostly government has to focus on gross domestic capital formation. That's why these were basically the priorities. Two priorities. Number one, to increase investment and consumption expenditure. Okay, so two priorities before the finance minister. Number one, to increase investment and private consumption expenditure. To increase investment and private consumption expenditure. Number two, to basically promote inclusive growth. To promote inclusive growth. To promote inclusive growth. To promote inclusive growth. Okay, to promote inclusive growth, the second priority. That's why government decided to go for the, government wanted to set in the virtuous economic cycle. Government decided to set in the virtuous economic cycle by enhancing the capital expenditure. By enhancing what? By enhancing the capital expenditure. Clear? Now how capital expenditure? In this budget itself, government decided to increase public expenditure. Public means government, particularly in which side? Particularly in the capex. Capex, capital expenditure, government decided to enhance. Government decided to enhance the capital infrastructure. Okay, when capital expenditure will be set in, what will this lead to? This will lead to creation of machinery, factory, equipment, infrastructure. For creation of these things, you require people, labor, you require also technical people, people with technical knowledge, skilled labor, non-skilled labor, you require both. That will create jobs. That will create jobs. First of all, not jobs. For making, when you are ready to spend, you will attract investors also. Okay, so this will basically attract investment. This will attract investment. That government is going to give a boost, we will also invest. So this will attract first of all investment. This is called crowding in. Crowding in means investment will flow. Okay, crowding in of investment. Crowding in of investment. Clear? Okay, when crowding in of investment will take place, lot of production units are to be set up, lot of infrastructure is to be developed. You require skilled as well as semi-skilled laborers and unskilled laborers as well. So don't you think that this will lead to job creation? Rather than job creation, you can write employment generation. This will lead to employment generation. Yes or no? This will lead to employment generation. Okay, when there will be lot of infrastructure, lot of people on work, they won't play PUBG, they won't watch movies, they will participate in the production process. They will participate in what? Production process. That will lead to increase in growth, or rather increase in GDP growth. That will lead to increase in GDP growth. And at one point of time, we may expect that GDP grows to an extent where we'll become self-resilient, self-sufficient, and we will also export. Okay, so increase in GDP growth will also lead to increase in exports, because I already wrote here export is also one driver. Exports were falling, clear? So to promote exports also you need to go for this investment. Okay, so this will also promote exports. Okay. Now when exports will increase, money will flow from abroad to us or from our country to abroad? Money will flow from abroad to us. Okay, that will improve our balance of payment situation. That will improve our, what is balance of payment? What is balance of payment? Yeah, it is basically the whatever transactions we have with rest of the world, whatever economic transactions are recorded there. Okay, the capital account, current account. Okay, then in capital account we have two types, visible and invisible in current account. Okay, trade account as well as the service account, invisible account. Okay, trade in goods and trade in services. Okay, I hope you remember, huh? You have attended my classes? No. Okay, but still you have read it thoroughly. Most of the people, I feel like you should have this much basics. What is balance of payments? And now you are going to face prelims in any case 5th June. Huh? Okay, so if one important tip for all of you. Huh? If you are not aware with any of the things which I am asking you, okay, you may get into a dilemma that should we appear now or not. You may get depressed. Okay, then you console yourself, this question won't come in exam. Just because I don't know, it won't come in exam. Your motivation level will remain up to 5th June. Otherwise you may skip the attempt. So this question won't come in the exam, should be the answer to those questions which you don't know. Clear that? So GDP, increase in growth and increase in export will also be there. Okay, this will lead to increase in per capita income. Okay, this will lead to rise in per capita income. This will lead to rise in national income and per capita income. When national income increases, naturally per capita income will increase. Okay, when national income will increase, per capita income will increase. Per capita income means individual will have more money to spend. Clear? Either they will spend, private consumption expenditure will increase, or they will save in banks, investment will increase. So that is a vicious type of thing which will go on. This will promote what? Here onwards it will promote two things. One is increase in private consumption expenditure, or then increase in capital formation. This will be basically also result of all this. Okay, so this is called virtuous economic cycle which government wants to set in due to increasing of the public expenditure. Okay, so this is the virtuous economic cycle. Virtuous economic cycle. Rich fodder material for your mains exam. Virtuous economic cycle which government wants to set in this year's budget. This year's budget. Okay, so what is basically the concrete thing which finance minister has announced? It has announced that we will increase the capital expenditure from 5.5 lakh crores to 7.5 lakh crores. 7.5 lakh crores. 7.5 lakh crores. Okay, and this is close to 3% of our GDP. Close to 3% of our GDP. Close to 3%. Precisely, if I have to go, 2.9% of our GDP. Clear that? 2.9% of our GDP. Okay. Then you might come across one term, one statement in your budget that the effective capital expenditure in our country is around 3%. No, it is around 4.1%. I am talking about, this is capital expenditure. This is capital expenditure. And this is effective capital expenditure. Anyone who will tell me what is effective capital expenditure, I can say he or she has got a good command over the subject. Okay, raise your hands. Raise your hands.
This is not meant for servicing the previous one.
Effective capital expenditure. First of all, tell me, effective capital expenditure shall be more. Okay, I have already given you the data. 4.1% more, which is not used for servicing. Then it must be less than the capital expenditure. Hai na?
grants given for the state for the creation of capital assets.
Excluding or including?
Excluding.
Excluding or including? Grants given to states for creation of assets. That is also a type of capital expenditure. So why will you exclude that? Capital expenditure means what center is going to spend. This much. This much. Okay? But then center also gives some grants to the states. Wait a while. Huh? Center gives grants to the states. State may spend some part of the grants for creation of assets. That also becomes capital expenditures. You add it to the capital expenditure made by center, you will get effective capital expenditure. So effective capital expenditure is equal to capital expenditure plus that parts of grants to the states which states have used for creation of assets. You get this point? Now you ask the question.
Continuous schemes like MNRs, they will be utilized in creating some more.
हाँ, थोड़ा सा clear, थोड़ा सा loud. Loudly, speak loudly.
Already existing some other schemes will be some expenditure.
Yeah.
It will be aligned for this thing. For example, creation of road. Then is MNRs scheme and that is also an expenditure. Combining those.
What is your question?
This effective capital expenditure is combination of these.
No. Effective capital expenditure means capital expenditure done by center plus the grants which center has given to the states for creation of assets. For creation of assets. MNREGA is not a capital expenditure program. It is an employment generation scheme to those who are not able to get employees. Number one. Number two, the assets which are generated under MNREGA are kacha assets. They are not permanent assets. You don't use permanent material, okay? Because after all you have to create job. They should get destroyed in next 2-3 years so that another Narega worker can work there and generate livelihood from himself. Clear? So under Narega, there are no guidelines for creation of permanent assets. Permanent assets are created under 14 Finance Commission, 15 Finance Commission, this district capital expenditure budget, PRI plans. There are a lot of plans, okay, but not under Narega. Permanent assets are not created under Narega. You get this point? Okay. So Narega is purely an employment generation scheme. Okay. No asset is created and no revenue is given back to the government. Clear that? You get the point? Assets are created, but by those people who misuse the loopholes of the MNREGA and Manrega scheme, okay, and they a lot of under table money, okay, then they create the assets, but they cannot account it in the capital formation. Okay, if they get it accounted, then Enforcement Directorate, what happened yesterday, very well, you might have read the news, sir. This IAS officer, what is the name of that lady? Yeah. So that's how things happen then, huh? So it is purely a employment generation scheme. Okay. So no effective capital expenditure. You get the concept. Capital expenditure done by center plus the capital expenditure done by states out of the grants which center has given them. Clear there? So what is the amount? It is around 10.6 lakh crores. 10.6 lakh crores. So this 7.5 is around 3%. Okay. Now 10.6 lakh crores will go to 4.1% of the GDP. 4.1% of the GDP means we have decided to increase the capital expenditure this year. Okay. Now, what are the other ways through which we have decided to increase our productive potential? One such big thing is PM Gati Shakti. Okay. Everything in the budget was about PM Gati Shakti. Clear that? Okay. So you can now write next topic which we are going to discuss, PM Gati Shakti, or you can write Gati Shakti Master Plan. I am sure in one or the other way you are going to get a question on this PM Gati Shakti. Huh? PM Gati Shakti or Gati Shakti Master Plan. You can write Gati Shakti Master Plan. Gati Shakti Master Plan. I hope the board is visible to you, all of you. Font is not an issue. Anybody? Huh? Okay, PM Gati Shakti or Gati Shakti Master Plan. What is this Gati Shakti Master Plan? Central thing in the Gati Shakti is infrastructure. Central thing in Gati Shakti is infrastructure development. Central thing is infrastructure. Why infrastructure is focused? Why so much focus on infrastructure? For that matter, you should understand the importance of infrastructure sector. Okay, what is the importance? Why not any other sector focused? Why only infrastructure sector focused in the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan? There are so many. Yeah?
It enables other sectors to grow.
Very good, very good. Then? Very good, very good. See, mostly, roughly everybody knows few points. I'll club them and I'll give you concrete points, very crisp and very short. Okay. First of all, the point which nobody can think is that infrastructure has a, you told me it enables other sectors. That is called, it has a local multiplier effect. Okay. The term used in the budget. It has a local multiplier effect. Local multiplier effect. Now, what do you mean by multiplier effect? What do you mean by multiplier effect? Huh? See, Mr. A was in love with Mr. B. Mr. A was in love with Miss B. Okay. Miss B decided to leave him because he is not going good in any area of life. Morally, ecologically, psychologically, economically, educationally, he is not being. Now, what has he technically lost? He has technically lost a potential life partner. Potential life partner. Okay. But what he has practically lost? He has lost relevance of mobile in his life. Relevance of phone in his life gone. Okay. He has lost, he is spending sleepless nights. Okay. He has lost the love of Hussain Sagar Lake. No more Hussain Sagar Lake visits in the evening. Okay. He has lost the relevance of Elon Musk. Is of no use for him. Okay. Then this fellow Facebook owner is of no use for him. WhatsApp owner no use for him. Insta everything. Okay. Then even he is not ready to go to home during nights. He is staying outside with friends. Okay. His own home has lost relevance. This is the multiplier effect of breakdown of one relation. Clear? When things multiply. Clear that? If you invest in infrastructure sector, clear? If you invest 1 rupee, you will get the benefits of investment equal to 2.5 rupees. You will get the benefit of equal to how much rupees? How? You developed some road. Due to that road, your logistic cost reduced. Due to that road, you planted a toll somewhere and you started getting revenues from that side also. Clear? Logistic cost, transportation became easy for goods and services. Okay, you started more sale of good in the local areas. Okay, you invested only in road, but your production increased, your sales increased, your revenue receipts generation from the tolls increased. This is multiplier impact of the infrastructure sector. There is a thing called money multiplier also, 2021 prelims question. What is this money multiplier? Money multiplier M. Yes? You know the answer of the question. What is money multiplier? Means if RBI will increase money supply in the economy by 100 rupees, actual money supply will increase by 100, more than 100 or less than 100? More than 100. Okay. Why more than 100? Because there is a thing called money multiplier which acts. Okay, now money multiplier ke liye I have a very beautiful illustration, but that may take 10 to 15 minutes. I won't be going into that. Lekin I'll be telling you कि money multiplier means if RBI increases money supply by 100 rupees, money supply in the economy will increase around 550 rupees because the current value of money multiplier is 5.5 to 5.6. Clear that? Okay. So this now what this money multiplier depends. This was a question in this year prelims. Okay, very thoroughly written in the notes. It depends upon banking habits of the people. If people save more with the bank will give loans to the corporates. That money will go from corporates to other workers. They will get salaries. Their income will increase. So there is a continuously multiplier impact going on. Okay. But if people didn't save in bank, they kept it in their pocket. Bank was not having anything to lend. No increase in the money supply in the economy. So basically, this money multiplier depends upon banking habits of the people. If they have habit of saving with the bank, then definitely money multiplier will be higher. Okay. So what is the local multiplier effect of infrastructure stack? It is around 2.5. Means if you invest 1 crore, you will reap the benefits of worth 2.5 crores. Okay, 2.45 is the precise data, around 2.5 multiplier impact in infrastructure, local multiplier impact. Okay, then it will also lead to huge amount of job creation, because on road you require people to collect toll taxes. You require people for maintenance of the road. You require people for basically working on that road first of all when you are constructing that road. Okay, then you, while investing in infrastructure, you bring Ambani to work on your infrastructure project? No. He gives you investment. You take laborers from the market. Okay, you create jobs for informal sector people. Those who are not having jobs, due to investment in infrastructure, this leads to job creation. Due to job creation, poorer of the poor also get the job. Means they are also participating in the growth process. And that is what we call as inclusive growth. I told you two problems with the finance ministry were basically promotion of investment and inclusive growth. So inclusive growth, we are getting it from here. Okay, then this will also help in reducing logistic cost. Okay, this will also help us to promote our vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. What do you mean by Atmanirbhar Bharat? Yeah, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Self-reliant India. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay. Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is infrastructure, importance of infrastructure. Okay. Now, what is actually this PM Gati Shakti Master Plan? What actually do we want? Through this Gati Shakti, we want speed and strength in our infrastructure sector. Wo kaise hai? How will that come? We'll construct a road. Next year, Reliance Jio people will come. You have constructed a road. We have not laid down the Jio fiber. Please dig it out. Okay, they will dig it out. Again, the third year, we will again lay down the road. We'll make it pakka metal road. Okay, next year, some people will come. We have not laid down the water pipes below it. Ministry of Health will come. They will see that there is not proper sanitation like this. Lot of non-coordinated activities lead to doubling rather than tripling of the expenditures, wastage of government money. First thing we will do is we will coordinate the plans among the ministries. All the 16 ministries will be together. 17th is the finance ministry which coordinates among all of them. Okay, all the ministries will coordinate together that we are going to lay down a road. Is there any ministry or any department which wants to do anything before we start the construction of road? Then Ministry of Telecommunication, yes, we want to lay some fiber lines. Then another Ministry of Jal Shakti, yes, we want some water pipes to be laid down on that road. Okay, then everything will go. At last, Ministry of Road and Transport will come. They will lay down the final metaling of the road. This will prevent huge amount of money and no repeated digging of the roads will take place. You get this point? Then only maintenance cost, which is very minimal. Clear? So first of all, what are the features? What we are going to do? You can write proposals or features. Proposals/features. So what is the first thing we are going to do under PM Gati Shakti? It will basically establish coordination among 16 ministries and departments. You can write all, if you cannot remember, 16, all the ministries and departments. All the ministries and departments. Okay, all the ministries and departments. Okay, now there are some schemes which are to connect ports. some scheme which are aviation sector, some scheme which are in the oceanic routes, Sagarmala, Bharatmala, Udan, there are different schemes. They all come under the logistics sector. Clear? Why not to make a proper coordination between these schemes? Okay, so basically we will establish a connecting link between various schemes in a particular sector to make maximum out of that. Okay, write down. Incorporate various schemes like like Bharatmala, Sagarmala, Udan, like Bharatmala, Sagarmala, Udan, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrika, Udan. Okay, these schemes will be brought together, connecting. See, we say that we lack cold storage facilities. We say this. Okay, that's why it is difficult to make some very short-lived products to reach from one corner of the country to another corner of the country. Let Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Railways make an agreement. You take durable commodities which are going by air through train. Those commodities which are less durable, you take it through air cargoes. Clear that? That will reduce basically wastage, and that will enhance the efficiency and productivity, and that will make India more self-reliant. That's why we need to integrate and incorporate these schemes like Bharatmala, Sagarmala, Udan and different sectors of the transportation. Okay, then focus on not single modal connectivity. Please develop a train route which can land me here in Hyderabad within 12 hours. I can afford 12-hour journey by train, but I cannot, it is not a matter of affordability, it is a matter of basically personal choice. I'll prefer to travel by train for 12 hours rather than traveling by plane for 1 hour. Okay, please develop some train like Vande Bharat. Even this train, Vande Bharat, has got enhanced budgetary allocations this year. Okay, so multimodal, at least give independence to people. They have to teach economics. They fear traveling in aeroplane. You get this point? Okay, so multimodal transit system. Multimodal transport. Multimodal transport. Okay, I told you already, even ropeways has been there in this year budget. Okay. Then take the advantage of information technology. Through geographical GIS, geographical GIS, geographical information system. You basically, through that you get these satellite images, resource mapping, resource utilization. Okay, then area wise allocation of resources, which area has which resources. Clear that? So you can leverage the technology. Technology has also been integrated into infrastructure sector. Clear that? Leveraging technology. Clear? One questions for prelims. Which is the nodal agency for implementation of PM Gati Shakti? Nodal agency. Is it Ministry of Finance? No. That's why it becomes important for prelims. Because where there is unconventional thing, it is Department of Promotion of Industry and Investment Trade, DPIIT. It is Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Nodal agency for this Gati Shakti Master Plan. Okay, nodal agency. Okay, who will monitor but this implementation of PM Gati Shakti Master Plan? There will be an empowered committee which will be headed by Cabinet Secretary. So you should basically see the question. Is it asking nodal agency or it is asking monitoring authority? The monitoring authority will be a empowered committee headed by Cabinet Secretary. Empowered committee headed by Cabinet Secretary. Monitor. Okay. Empowered committee. Okay. Now, due to all this, PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, due to coordination, due to leveraging technology, multimodal transport system, various schemes when they will be included, what will be its advantages? What are potential benefits? What are its potential benefits? What are its potential benefits? Yes? What are its potential benefits? Just a second, huh? What are its potential benefits? Yes, tell me. First of all, it will ensure greater synergy of various programs. They will be in synergy when all the ministries will be in coordination. It will, first of all, it will enhance the synergy. It will ensure greater synergy in planning and implementation. Greater synergy in planning and implementation. Greater synergy in planning and implementation, number one. Okay, then it will reduce delays and cost overruns. It will reduce delays and cost overruns. What do you mean by cost overrun? Yeah, a project which was started for 100 crores, it was completed for 150 crores. Why? Because it was a road project, the road was dug 3 times. Clear that? So cost overruns will be produced, and even the delays in project will also be, when all the ministries will coordinate, then every ministry will do their part of the job and infrastructure development will go on at a faster pace. Clear that? Okay. Then closely linked projects will be executed together. Okay, and then also prioritization will be taken place. Before construction of road, priority is that we should put the fiber lanes. Okay, then we will construct a road over that. Okay, so prioritization, this reduction in delay and cost overrun will be due to prioritization of projects and collective implementation of closely linked projects. Collective implementation of closely linked projects. Okay, even also it will reduce the gap between planning and implementation. It will reduce the planning and implementational gaps. It will reduce the planning and implementational gaps. It will reduce planning and implementational gaps. Clear? So, and also it will provide for multimodal connectivity and reduce transit cost. Okay, already I have discussed that. Clear that? You get this point? Okay. So now, next is in the infrastructure sector also, we have decided to improve this our transport sector particularly, and in energy security we are focusing on energy security. Regarding energy security, one important policy which has been basically announced under this budget is basically the battery swapping policy. Okay, so next is battery swapping policy. Okay, so can you tell me first, before going to next topic, can you tell me some challenges which you see in this PM Gati Shakti? What are the challenges? Yeah? First and the foremost is how to establish coordination among various ministries, because it is not that our current finance minister is so intelligent that she has brought this concept of coordination. Every finance minister since 1947 has asked the ministries to coordinate to prevent delays and cost overruns. The biggest challenge is still the coordination challenge. Okay, number one. Number two, delays in clearances. Though we have asked for single window clearances, but it is not in every project that we have this single window clearance. Theoretical single window clearance we do have, practically single window clearance we don't have. So many projects get stalled, okay? And one of the major problem for the, for the problem in the balance sheet of the corporates is stalled projects. They take loan from the bank, they don't get clearance for the project. Their project is not working well, will they pay the EMIs? Okay, so basically that has also been one problem. Okay, so one problem is lack of coordination, another problem is delay in clearances. Delay in clearances, another problem. Then there is the third problem that we have drafted a beautiful master plan under PM Gati Shakti. We have drafted these things also in past. Okay, but they have not been properly implemented. Okay, people from this place will qualify civil services and ensure the implementation of PM Gati Shakti. Clear that? So implementation, gap between implementation, gap between planning and implementation. Okay, and then there are also cost overruns due to deficiency of vitamin M among the administrators and the politicians. Okay, you know vitamin M? Corruption. Clear that? So corruption is also one big reason of cost overruns. Okay, cost overruns. We asked for we asked 100 crore for a project. Okay, then in revised estimate we said it is 180 crores. Okay, and actually when we see it is only 40 crores. Clear that? So these are some challenges. So you can expect you can expect a question in this. Mains examination also, and some statement based question in PT also, PM Gati Shakti. Clear that? Okay. Now there is this battery swapping initiative. Battery swapping initiative or battery swapping policy. Anything related to ecology and environment is very, very important. Okay. Battery swapping initiative. Okay. What is this battery swapping initiative first of all? See, just understand it very quickly. It is very simple. When you go, suppose you have a car which is running on petrol or diesel, you go to the refilling station and you refill it. Okay. But then if you are having a vehicle which is running on battery, first of all, you will pray every time that temperature should not go beyond 30. Okay. If it goes, what will happen? It will blast. What is happening? What has happened in past few days? Even there is a basically investigation, and the investigation result today itself says that there have been some defective cells which have been used in those batteries. Clear that? Two-wheelers. Thankfully two-wheelers, not four-wheelers. Okay, had it been four-wheelers, things would have been very difficult for the electric vehicle segment. Okay, so basically, what is this initiative? You go to the refilling station, recharging station, you recharge your battery. Fastest charger, at least 15 minutes you have to charge for a running of 1 hour. Clear that? So who will stay for 15 minutes then? We are running short of time. Everybody is running short of time. Everybody is busy in doing nothing. You get this point? Okay. So that's why we started battery swapping initiative. Okay. You have a battery in your vehicle. You go to the battery recharging station. Put your older battery there. Take a recharged one. Okay. And then put it in your vehicle and move on. Clear that? This is basically the core of the initiative. Okay, but you have to present it in a beautiful manner. The things are to be presented in perspective. Why do we need this battery swapping policy? Because we need this battery swapping policy to meet our energy requirements. To meet our energy requirement. For energy, why? Answer is threefold. One is energy security. Another one is environmental conservation. Okay. Reducing air pollution. And the third one is basically addressing climate change. This is what actually is proposed in the budget. Addressing climate change. Addressing climate change. Addressing climate change. Okay, that's why majority of the countries has started switching towards the electricity based or electronic things. Clear that? Rather than coal based or fossil fuel based things. Okay, energy security. This is also called electronic mobility or e-mobility. This is also called as e-mobility. So that's why we are shifting towards e-mobility. We are shifting for e-mobility. E-mobility. Okay. You see those countries which are performing very good on Human Development Index, World Happiness Index, Corruption Perception Index, all the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Finland, Iceland, these countries are performing very well. You get this point? They have basically already gone to these things. If you check the data says Norway 75% of the vehicles already electronic vehicles. Okay, India 1.3%. Okay, India how many? Lowest share in e-mobility in India. Lowest share. Out of all the transport running, 1.3% electronic mobility. 1.3% electronic mobility. This is the current status. This is the current status. This is the current status. Okay. For that matter, we have started basically so many initiatives. Okay. What are the initiatives? This e-mobility, mark my words, there is something in it for your exam. I don't know from ecology and environment section, from current affairs, from economy. From wherever it will come, answer will be from my class only. Okay, you just keep writing, I'll tell you. Okay, there are some initiatives which you must keep in mind for e-mobility. Okay, what are those initiatives which we have started for e-mobility in our country? First of all, we have, yes? FAME India. We have FAME India, yeah. Then there are production linked incentive scheme we have. Then we have some other initiatives. FAME is one of them. I'll tell you second initiative FAME. First initiative is much bigger than FAME. First of all, we have set up a National Council for Electric Mobility. Okay, write down. National Council for Electric Mobility in India. First one is National Council for Electric Mobility in India has been set up. Clear? Second is FAME 2. Second name of the scheme is FAME 2. Second phase of the FAME. What is FAME? You just write it also. Faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid electric vehicles. Okay. Faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid electric vehicles. Hybrid electric vehicles. Hybrid in brackets. Hybrid electric vehicles. Hybrid electric vehicles. Okay. Then we have also allotted some funds for allocation of for manufacturing of electric vehicles. Okay, that is called PLI, production linked incentive has been given. Okay, so PLI for EV manufacturing, electronic vehicles manufacturing. Okay, production linked incentive. Okay, then there is one initiative, you just write, very very important initiative, that is called First Loss Risk Sharing Instrument. Okay, another initiative is First Loss Sharing. First Loss Risk Sharing. Okay, First Loss Risk Sharing Instrument. First Loss Risk Sharing Instrument. First loss risk sharing instrument. Okay, see what is this? First loss risk sharing instrument. Okay, it will be some instrument which will be sharing the risk. Risk of what? Risk of first loss. First loss incurred by whom? A manufacturer who will manufacture electric vehicles. You break down things, you understand them easily. Okay, so basically, first of all, you understand a few things about it. This is an initiative of two institutions, that is Niti Aayog and World Bank. Which of the following statement is true about first loss risk sharing instrument? Okay, first it is an initiative of Niti Aayog and World Bank. Okay, now what will they do? Niti Aayog and World Bank, what will they do? They will provide guarantee to the bank. Bank, you please lend to electric vehicle manufacturers. Okay, if they will default your loans, we will repay it to you. Okay, so basically there is a fund of how much? $300 billion set up under this. Fund of $300 million. $300 million is kept. In case any default is there, this will be paid to the banks. Okay, this will be paid to the banks. So this initiative is to encourage banks to lend to the electronic vehicle manufacturers. Okay, this is to encourage banks to lend to the electronic vehicle manufacturers. To lend to the electronic vehicle manufacturers. To lend to electric vehicle manufacturers. Electric vehicle manufacturers. Okay. So, under which ministry is this National Council of Electric Vehicles set up? Under which ministry? Yes? It is Ministry of Higher Education. Clear that? It is under Ministry of Higher Education. To promote awareness. Clear that? Ministry of Higher Education. Okay? Ministry of Higher Education. To promote awareness. To start vocational courses for training of people in electronic mobility sector. Clear that? No, not Ministry of Road and Transport. Okay. Which is the costliest part in the electric vehicle? Battery itself. Under this battery swapping policy, you can buy vehicle without battery. You can buy a vehicle without battery. You can go to a battery refilling station. They will have ample batteries, charged batteries with them. You take one, you pay rent on that. Okay. When it is completely discharged, you go and exchange. You take another, you pay rent on that battery. So you hire them on rental basis. Clear that? So no need to worry that you have to incur huge cost. It will make basically easy access for people to electric vehicles. Okay. So you can, under this scheme, you can, how does it work? I am just telling you briefly and quickly. You can buy a vehicle without the battery. Okay. Now there are two options with you. You just take a subscription of batteries. Then every 15 days, the delivery boy will come and give you the battery at your home, or 10 days or monthly or weekly, whatever be the subscription. Or you take batteries on lease. On lease means you take one battery, you go and exchange it with another charged battery. This is that you have taken the battery on lease for this much time period or this much years. Okay, then you can replace the recharged batteries with drain batteries. Okay, that's why it is also called battery swapping also. Okay, originally, technically, if you see, battery swapping is one part of it. Okay, but you call it battery swapping policy. Clear that? Okay. Now, there is basically one electronic manufacturing company which has been in, if you have to give a case study in your mains examination, that company you can write the name, Bounce Infinity. Bounce Infinity. 10 lakh battery swaps done by this company. It is an e-rickshaw manufacturing company. E-rickshaw manufacturing company, Bounce Infinity. It has done what? 10 lakh battery swaps. Okay. Clear that? Then you can write also challenges. Number 1, infrastructure challenge. Okay. Number 2, there are only few companies which provide you these, battery swapping agreements. Okay. There is, if you have one battery of one company, you cannot exchange it with battery of another company. So interoperability is not there. Clear that? And then there is higher GST rates on battery, 18% GST you pay on these batteries. Clear that? And then there is also basically, very huge consumption of batteries when you consume batteries in large number. Okay, cheaper rates. Under swapping policy, you get very on very less rental amounts. You get the battery. You will enhance the usage, but when more usage of batteries will increase, you need to replace the batteries. Clear that? It has very huge environmental cost. Clear that? So it is basically, and it may create environmental problems. Replacement of older batteries. Clear? So these are some challenges. But it has addressed very huge problems. Number 1, initial cost of purchasing a vehicle, 50% cost only batteries. You don't purchase battery, 50% cost will be reduced. Okay. Then maintenance cost is also very low. Only you need to recharge the battery. Clear that? Okay. Then also the third challenge which it has addressed is the basically time delays which were there at the recharging stations, battery recharging stations. Okay, but honestly speaking, that India, the future of electric vehicles in India is basically growing. In next decade or so, we may see altogether only electric vehicles. Diesel vehicles might be phasing out of diesel vehicles might start in another decade. Okay, then slowly petrol vehicles also. So basically future is there in this e-mobility sector. Okay, so you can also expect a question from here. Clear? So this was e-mobility. Clear? Another Ministry of Finance has taken another initiative that is called as Harmonization of Infrastructure Sector. Okay. You can write next, Harmonization of Infrastructure Sector. Harmonization of Infrastructure Sector. Harmonization of Infrastructure Sector. What do you mean by harmonization of infrastructure? Basically, lot of things which we feel they are not infrastructure, Ministry of Finance publishes a list of harmonized infrastructure. Means it is these things are basically vital for infrastructure, so they should also be given the status of infrastructure. Like for example, I'll tell you data. In this budget, data centers. Data centers means where we will get maximum possible data related to a particular thing. Data centers, or like there are some energy storage systems. Data centers, energy storage systems. Earlier these were not a part of infrastructure. Now in this budget, Finance Ministry has decided that these will be included in infrastructure sector. This is the announcement. Data centers and energy storage systems will be included in the infrastructure sector. Will be included in infrastructure sectors. Infrastructure sector. Okay. Now, what is the benefit of including a particular thing into infrastructure? There are so many sectors which are in the, there are so many things which are included in the infrastructure. Like road is there, transport is there, energy generation, energy transmission, they are all part of infrastructure. Okay. Ministry of Finance publishes one list of harmonized infrastructure. Okay. 5 sectors, more than 30 subsectors are there. Okay. What is the advantage these infrastructure gets? Infrastructure sector gets special funding, special finance, concessional credit. Okay, credit at basically lower interest rates. You can write advantages. Advantages. Okay, infrastructure sector gets concessional credit. Point number 1. Concessional credit. Concessional credit. Okay. Second, easier access to external commercial borrowing. Easier access to external commercial borrowing. Easier access to long-term funds from insurance companies. Long-term funds from insurance companies. Long-term funds from insurance companies, etc. Okay, etc. Okay. Now, this was infrastructure development at the center level. In infrastructure sector, this is what we are doing. We have proposed in the budget. In infrastructure sector in states, okay, we have also decided to make some improvements. We have also decided to give some, impetus to improve infrastructure in in states. Okay, for that matter, there has been some, changes in the provisions related to borrowings of states, and there has been some additional impetus for improving the financial position of the states, particularly for infrastructure development. Okay, so for that matter, the next topic which I will discuss is infrastructure financing in states. Okay, so you can write infrastructure financing in states. Infrastructure financing in states from center. Now from center, states will get funds either in the form of grants in aid, or it will be basically the Finance Commission recommendation allocation. That is the money from the central divisible pool of taxes, if you remember. How much money as per the 15th Finance Commission recommendation? 41, 42 actually, but 41 for the states and 1% has been kept for the reorganized state of Jammu and Kashmir. Clear that? Okay. So basically, I'll quickly and briefly discuss borrowing powers of states. In that, I'll incorporate what actually has been taught in the budget. Okay. So you can write borrowing powers of center and states. Here I'll be highlighting very important points related to financing. Borrowing powers of center and states. Okay, which article first of all? 292, center. Center can borrow under article 292, center, and 293, borrowing powers of states. Okay, 293 deals with borrowing powers of state. Okay, borrowings powers of states. Okay, now center can borrow from outside India, and this is called as external commercial borrowings. Okay, then within India, domestic borrowings, within India. Okay, who decides the limits that how much India should borrow and how much India should not borrow? There is basically a legislation on this. Yeah, it is Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, FRBM Act. Under FRBM Act basically decides the limits of borrowings for center. Decides the limits of borrowings for center. And what about states? States can borrow from market, first of all. Market borrowings in the form of what? Small development loans, SDLs. Okay, small development loans. Then it can borrow from RBI in the form of what? Borrowings of state from RBI is called as WMA, Ways and Means Advances. Ways and Means Advances. Then it can also borrow from center. States can also borrow from center. Borrowing powers of states are limited. Does states require every time consent from center to borrow? Yes or no? States require consent of center to borrow. Yes or no? Every time? No. If there is any loan of center pending on a particular state, and state wants to raise another loan from some other agent, in that case states need the central approval. Center need to give approval to the state for borrowing if any loan is pending on the state from center. Suppose this is a state, Telangana state. It has borrowed from center 100 crores. Now it wants to raise some funds from market, 150 crores. It has to take center's approval because the central loan is pending on Telangana state. Only in this case, the approval of center will be required. Clear that? Now, center is empowered to fix borrowing limits on state. Okay, earlier, these borrowing limits have been changed this year. Clear? Earlier, there were how much? Center limits center decides the limits of borrowing by states. Borrowing by states. Center decides the limits of borrowing by states. You get this point? Okay. Now, earlier, it has decided that states can borrow how much? 3% of GST. Yeah. Gross domestic product of the state, or for that matter complex करने के लिए GSDP, gross state domestic product, या gross domestic product of the state, not of the country. Okay, gross state domestic product. Okay, 3% it was earlier. Now it has been increased to how much? It has increased by 2%. Okay, earlier during COVID times, we increased it by 1%. That we can go from 3 to 4%. But we imposed one condition. Condition was that this 1% only if we will be implementing projects like One Nation, One Ration Card, we'll be making some reforms in the logistics sector, some reforms in the supply side. Okay, then so many states were not able to get the benefit. Now we have increased it to how much? Total we have increased it to 5%. We have increased it to how much? 5%. Currently the borrowing limit is how much? 5%. 5% of GSDP. Okay. And apart from this, above this, additional 0.5% states can borrow if they are going for power sector reforms. For power sector reforms, if state is carrying out power sector reforms like distribution of energy or harnessing some more energy, shifting from one energy resource on another resource, so you can go for 5% additional 5% additional borrowings. 5% additional borrowings. Clear that? Now, my question is, can states also borrow from abroad? Yeah. Earlier, up to 2017, states can borrow from abroad with due approval of center. Okay. After 2017, those states which are of sound finance, which have sound financial health, clear that, they can borrow without center's approval. Rather, center gives guarantee for their loans. Clear that? So these are basics you must have in your mind. Clear that? So these are borrowing powers of the center. Clear? Now there is basically a scheme for financial in this year's budget, one special scheme for financial assistance. To states has been announced in 2022-23 budget. 2022-2023 budget, one scheme for financial assistance to state has been announced. Can you tell me what are the provisions of this scheme? If you get a question even on center-state relations, you can use this data there also. Okay. So can you tell me what are the major, aspects of this scheme? Anybody? What are the major initiatives, or what are the major aspects? First of all, center will give interest-free loan to the states for 50 years. Okay, you can write interest-free loan from center to states for 50 years. For 50 years. Okay. And how much loan it is to be given? Initially during 2021 budget, 2021-2022 previous year budget, it was proposed that we will give how much loans? 15,000 crores. Now this year it has been increased to 1 lakh crores. Okay. So how much loans to the tune of 1 lakh crores will be given from center to states, and it will be interest free loans. Okay. Interest-free loans. Okay. Important point. Will it form the part of borrowings of the states from center? This will be over and above the borrowing limits. Okay. These loans will be over and above the borrowing limits. Grossly criticized provision. Lot of criticism in the parliament. Okay. What is the criteria for selection of states? No criteria. We will see which state needs it more. Opposition, you will see which state has your government, and you will give this loan to those states only. Clear that? But now then they have decided that we will make a broader policy. We will put that policy to parliamentary approval. Only after formulating that policy, we will decide on what parameters, what criteria we will be giving these loans to the states. So policy framework is to be, this is an announcement, but a policy on what criteria, on what basis we will give these loans to the states is yet to be decided. And it is basically over and above the borrowing limits of the states. Okay. Okay, can you tell me some more initiatives for infrastructure development? Monetization pipelines, previous one. Asset monetization pipelines, 2021 budget. Okay. Anything else? National infrastructure pipeline, infrastructure, asset monetization. These are previous year budget. You heard something about PM Divine. PM Divine, you heard something about this? What is this initiative? PM Divine, development of Northeastern region. Prime Minister's development initiative for Northeast region. You can write also another initiative. Prime Minister's development initiative for Northeast. Prime Minister's development initiative for Northeast. Okay. It has a twin objective. One is livelihood generation in the northeastern region. Another one is to basically fulfill the infrastructural gaps. Okay. Northeast, just chicken neck corridor, you have a smaller corridor connecting the northeastern. Okay. So you have to basically open up more infrastructural lines which will basically connect northeast with the rest of India. So twin objective, one is livelihood opportunities, another one is infrastructural gaps, to plug the infrastructural gaps. Okay, how much money is allocated to particular thing? Nobody asks you, but huge amount is allocated to PM Divine, 15,000 crores. Okay, 1500 crores. Nobody is going to ask you this, but just I am telling you for your understanding. Okay, who will be the implementing agency? Northeastern Council. Okay, Northeastern Council. Okay, Northeastern Council. Okay, Northeastern Council. Another scheme for infrastructure, rural infrastructure, Vibrant Village Program. Another initiative is Vibrant Village Program. Vibrant Village Program. Okay, it has been announced in 2023 budget. Vibrant Village Program. Okay. Which states are focused under Vibrant Village Program and why? All the states or some of the states? See, China is playing a mind game with the border states. Okay, it is developing some villages which China calls well-off villages. Okay, beautiful facilities given to villages, well-off villages in the near the borders. Okay, then lot of people basically there is basically a lot of out migration from Indian border villages. Clear that? In order to prevent that out migration, we have decided on that line of well-off villages of China, we have decided vibrant villages. At least, if anything would not be better than China, the name is better than China. Okay, is well-off villages for China, vibrant villages for India. Clear that? So under vibrant villages, first of all, we have focused the 3 northern states. Himachal Pradesh, then we have focused on Uttarakhand, not Arunachal Pradesh. Uttarakhand, okay. Yeah. HP, UK and AP. Arunachal Pradesh also. Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and AP. Rather AP is the main focus. Okay. Reason being ki, here we need vibrant villages. If at all we don't need in Himachal and UK. But then we are developing here also. Okay. Vibrant villages. Okay. So what are the main focus in vibrant villages? Right, roads, housing areas, electricity, tourism, DTH also. Okay, don't out migrate, watch Doordarshan. Okay, DTH access. Okay, support for livelihood generation, housing, tourism, etc. Okay, clear? Then there are some other initiatives. Few smaller initiatives in the infrastructure sector I will also discuss after this, and then I will come to the next theme. This was about infrastructure. Smaller 2-3 initiatives I'll discuss after the break. After break, I'll take a break of 15 minutes. We'll be back on 5 o'clock. We'll be back at 5 o'clock. Then we will be together for another 2-3 hours, 2.5 hours. Okay. Then I'll take banking and finance. Okay. Second theme, third and fourth theme tomorrow, first 2 hours. Then I'll discuss some important current affairs topics. Thank you. We'll meet after a break.